In December, I spoke at Penn, and I led with a joke that I had to read my speech from my notes because I had recently had brain surgery. Well, the silver lining of having brain surgery as frequently as I do is you get to use the same excuse. As many of you may know, I had my third craniotomy in April. Then had 3 weeks of whole brain radiation and immediately started PD-1, all of which caused swelling in the brain, making my brain what I have eloquently termed, and even Dr. Schachter has adopted, fuzzy. So I apologize in advance if all of this doesn't come out perfectly. I want to start by thanking every single person here. I am so grateful for everyone's time, prayers, and attendance tonight. This community has been so altruistic and generous in every sense of the word, and I cannot thank you all enough. I also want to thank the committee for helping to organize this amazing event, our sponsors for their incredibly generous support, and everyone who volunteered and donated the amazing auction items. Even with all the memory issues I'm having from my brain swelling, I will never forget the incredible support and generosity of everyone who made tonight possible. I am standing here today because of contributions that have funded the research to develop the treatments that Dr. Schachter talked about, the treatments that are giving me a chance to fight this disease, a chance that I would not have had 2 years ago. I am forever grateful and indebted to you who have made these selfless acts of kindness. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to fight this disease. I cannot talk about selfless acts of kindness and generosity without mentioning and remembering one of tonight's diamond sponsors and one of the best people I've ever known, Louis Katz. There's so much that could be said about Louis, but simply said, he made the world a better place and he will forever be missed. Says that you never forget when the doctor tells you you have cancer. For me, I think the more unforgettable moments are those that came in the days, weeks, and months after I heard those 3 life-changing words. And that's because of my amazing family and friends that have been there for me throughout what is without a doubt the toughest time of my life, helping me to make the best of it and making sure we had a great time doing it. Explaining how much it all means to me would be nearly impossible, even without the swelling in my brain. So I decided to outsource to a quote I love. There are some people who make our laughs a little louder, smiles a little brighter, pain a little easier, and life a whole lot better. I'm lucky to have a lot of those people in my life, and it's because of that I cannot help but feel lucky despite everything going on medically. I'm also lucky to have the best family in the world. My sisters have been with me through every obstacle, which is great because Lauren often has to interpret what I'm saying post-op when I'm just mumbling and she's the only person who can understand me. Mom and Dad, thank you for being the best parents and advocates I could ask for. I can't think of a time in my life, and especially in the past 11 months, when you weren't both there making sure I was getting the best care possible and having as much fun as possible. Speaking of the best care possible, the day I was diagnosed, as you mentioned, my dad told me he had already checked out Dr. Schachter from one source, who said she was the best, but he had a few more calls to make, and if she wasn't, we would find the best and go there. Dr. Schachter, good news, you passed. All joking aside, I truly cannot imagine having a better doctor, advocate, or friend. Some people have asked why we wanted to start this foundation in the midst of everything else going on. Although this week, my mom probably would have replied, because we're insane, the truth is that this foundation is our way of making the best of it. According to the statistics, 75% of stage 4 melanoma patients like myself are dead within a year of their diagnosis. I was diagnosed 11 months ago, and even after having somewhere around 14 brain tumors, yeah, I lost count, I know that those aren't good odds. I can't control those statistics, but part of making the best of it is accepting what I can control and focusing on what I can control. So although we can't change what the statistics on melanoma have been, we chose to make the best of it and try to help change where they are going. Since being diagnosed, I'm I'm lucky enough to have benefited from what have been considered game changers in melanoma treatment options. Sometimes it feels like my medical record could also serve as a timeline of FDA approvals. I was literally finishing one treatment and waiting for the next drug to become available. That's because although these treatments are very groundbreaking, and I'm so thankful they're available, they are, in essence, short-term solutions to buy time. When one treatment is no longer effective, you have to hope the next is going to be available. So I don't really consider them game changers as much as extra innings. What I really want to do with this foundation is to help fund the research that will get us past just buying time and will hopefully provide a lifetime to melanoma patients. It's crazy to me how much has changed in a year. Last June, I remember trying to figure out what I wanted my next step to be. My year-long clerkship would soon be ending, and I had decisions to make. What type of law did I want to go into? I remember spending hours stressing over my resume and writing sample. However, I would have never in a million years have guessed that instead of submitting that resume, I have a new one that includes 3 brain surgeries, a full neck dissection, 4 rounds of gamma knife, 6 weeks of proton therapy, 3 weeks of brain radiation, 4 rounds of ipilimumab, and months on and off of BRAF and MEK inhibitors, as my body could tolerate them. Despite my new impressive resume, I find myself in a similar situation of really not knowing what my next step will be because the research isn't there yet. I recently heard the quote, "Fairy tales are more than true." Not because they tell us that dragons exist, but because they tell us that dragons can be beaten. And this foundation is my way of trying to beat that dragon. Thank you all for being here tonight and helping me to make the best of it.